Great. Thank you so much for staying with us. Time now for our Beyond the Scars conversation. Keep your feedback coming. I see it already. Send it in on our social media handles at KTN News KE, at Grace Korea KE, and I'll be sampling it at the end of this program. Now, my guest, as I told you, is already with me in studio, Honorable Timothy Otieno, the Member of Parliament, Westlands. Karibu sana. Thank you so much for joining us today. So Mhesh, we want to start with you giving us a background of yourself, because this is not the ordinary interviews we have on politics. It is about you today, and we are glad to have you here on Beyond the Scars. So we want to get to know a little bit of who is Honorable Timothy Wanyonyi.
Honorable Timothy Wanyonyi is Kenyan. I'm a lawyer by profession. I'm married. I have 3 children, and I'm a member of Parliament for Westlands for a second time. Previously, I served as a councillor at Nairobi City Council before I became a member of Parliament, and that's me.
Okay, we'll be talking more on that.
Yes.
But now, sir, I want you to take us through what happened in the year 1998.
1998, I was a young lawyer going about my business, and one evening, just after my day and I'm preparing to go home, I left and I met a friend of mine who was coming to see me. So I told him, let's go as we chat, and then I offered to drop him. And as I dropped him at his place in Ngara, immediately when I reversed to leave, then I met some people who accosted me and demanded that they wanted me to give them the car, which I did without resistance. But before they left, they shot me right in the back, which the bullet went and inflicted my spinal cord injury. And that's why I got a permanent injury that put me on this wheelchair. That is, it just happened as quickly as that, without really knowing what was the cause, whether they were just thugs or they were people with another mission. I don't even know.
Let's remain there, because I did, my homework. I did some background check, and you say that you actually didn't feel anything at that moment.
No, I didn't. I just had something hit me. The next thing, I was on the ground and I could not feel anything. I could not feel myself at all. But I could hear people screaming and running around and saying they've killed somebody. But I managed to struggle and raise myself, push myself up as if I'm doing some press-up. So I lifted my head, and one brave fellow came very close and said, no, it's not dead, it's alive. And that's how they picked me from there to hospital, which was not very far away, but I think that was the longest distance I've ever traveled between that place and the hospital. Yeah, it was very traumatizing. Yeah.
At about what time did this happen, and how old were you then?
It was not late, it was about 7 o'clock in the evening. And I had just come out of college. I think I was about 27 years old. That's the time when that thing happened. You know, when you have worked so hard, you have developed in your career, and then you believe that now I'm ready to take off, and something like that happens to you. You know, you feel like your dreams have been shattered. And you look, and so many things running around in your mind. What else? Is it better that I should have maybe died, or to live like this? It is very traumatizing that when a doctor tells you on a hospital bed that you'll never walk again. It's, you know, it doesn't really make sense at all.
Yes.
But reality sinks in when you realize that that is the fate you have found yourself in. Yeah.
Okay, we'll be getting back to that, but now I want you to take us through the journey in hospital.
Yes.
You say the distance between, the scene of a crime, if I would call it that, in the hospital was the longest you ever traveled. But what happened when you now got to the hospital?
I was taken to hospital on top of a pickup with an injury that was still very raw, and the pain started coming in, and that distance, I remember it later on I went and went to that place where it happened. The distance from that place to hospital is hardly a kilometer, but it's not more than a kilometer. But that travel was a nightmare. It was between life and death. I was bleeding so much, and then the pain, then I'm on top of a pickup, and all, when you get there, I think I reached somewhere and it became numb. I could not even feel anything now. No pain, nothing, cannot feel myself. I was just there. But that is how it felt when I was being taken to the hospital. But I thank those people. They were quite quick to react, and the person, the owner of the pickup, had also I think he was just coming home, and he found the situation and offered to take me to hospital. Maybe if it was somewhere else, I could not have made it, because sometimes, they can shoot you maybe even on the road or a lonely place where there are no people. But there, at least, there were people who reacted very quickly, and that's how they saved my life. Yeah.
So now your treatment journey in hospital?
Then, I got to Aga Khan Hospital. It took another 2 hours, because they had to do a process of examining me, checking what got through the x-rays, and before I was taken to theater for an operation to remove that plate which had been lodged in my spinal injury. And it was very... I just thank God it happened so quickly like that. And they say it's always good that I'm alive. I know many people don't make it, but I thank God I survived. Yeah.
Okay, Mheshimiwa, let me just cut you short because we need to take the story just reaching our news desk now. And 6 people died in Naivasha last night following a road accident involving a Nissan Matatu and a truck, while 9 others were seriously injured. The accident at Nyakairo Center, 15 kilometers from Naivasha town, occurred after the truck collided head-on with an oncoming Matatu, killing 4 passengers in the Matatu on the spot. The driver of the lorry that was heading to Naivasha also died on the spot. A passenger of the ill-fated 2NK Sacco Matatu was heading to Nairobi died while undergoing treatment at Naivasha Sub-County Hospital. Naivasha Deputy OCPD John Kwasa confirmed the accident.
Kuna climbing line. Wakati ile gari imefika hapa imeenda kuovertake, naye lori ilikuwa imetoka upande wa juu, naye pia ikaovertake. Zikapatana katikati ya barabara ambapo line hiyo ilikuwa ya hiyo Nissan. Na imepoteza watu 4 ambao wamekufa hapa. Na pia driver wa lori pia amekufa. Na tunahuzunika sana.
Sasa hapa tungependa pawekwe bumps. Hizi bumps zishikane na zile ambazo ziliwekwa pale line pahali kulichomeka watu, na hizi ziliwekwa hapa Kinungi. Hapa pahali pawe na bumps. Kwa sababu hapa either watu wapigwe wanapotoka kwa hizi duka, kwa sababu upande wa juu hakuna duka, ama magari yakate brakes na yafanye accident. Hii hata huwezi kujua ni accident ya gapi.
A recap of the developing story that just reached our news desk is that 6 people have died in Naivasha last night following a road accident involving a Nissan Matatu and a truck, while 9 others were seriously injured. The accident at Nyakairo Center, 15 kilometers from Naivasha town, occurred after the truck collided head-on with an oncoming Matatu, killing 4 passengers in the Matatu on the spot. The driver of the lorry that was heading to Naivasha also died on the spot. A passenger of the ill-fated 2NK Sacco Matatu was heading to Nairobi, died while undergoing treatment at Naivasha Sub-County Hospital. Naivasha Deputy OCPD John Kwasa confirmed the accident, adding that the bodies had been collected and taken to a nearby mortuary.
Kuna gari ambayo ilikuwa ikielekea upande wa Nairobi na katika hapa barabara ile ambayo iko hapa
And of course, our condolences to those that lost their loved ones in that road accident that occurred last night. And we wish those in hospitals a quick recovery. Of course, we'll be getting more updates regarding that in our subsequent programs. And now we continue with the interview we've been having with our Westlands Member of Parliament, Honorable Tim Wanyonyi, Beyond the Scars. Once again, thank you, sir. So let's just take on from where we left it, where you were at the hospital, Aga Khan Hospital.
Yes, I was from the scene of accident. I was taken to Aga Khan Hospital for the first aid, the process of going through the process of examining what the nature of the injury, and then to theater to operate and remove the plate. And from there, I was admitted at that hospital for like a month or so. And then after that, I went to Belgium for further treatment, and that was actually a process of rehabilitation that took time, about 3 months. But between the time I was injured and the time I came out of hospital, it was a process that which takes you through a process of depression, denial, and many other things before you come to terms that actually you can now live with that disability, which was not very easy. And I know it's not very easy for many people who go through this kind of thing, whether through accident or whichever form of something that puts you in a situation that your body has transformed to something else than what you knew yourself. Yeah.
And we'll be getting to the part where now you overcame and you are where you are today. But you've mentioned the word being traumatized about twice or thrice. And you've mentioned that period in hospital, you go through depression, denial. But I want us to stick there for a moment, because those long days and long nights in hospital, did you have sessions of asking God, why me? Why this?
Yeah. Yes. Actually, so many things go through your mind, especially at that time. I was just newly married, a young family, young children who are hardly a year old, and finding myself in that situation, it looks like now I'll not be able to provide for them. I'll not be able to take care of them. I was not even sure that I'll even go back to work, because the situation around, even within the environment, within the workplace, that's our court system, were not favorable to people with disability. And we had to look for, even within my own house, because we get houses knowing very well you are able, you can go around without anybody's assistance, and then all of a sudden something has happened that you are never even to fit in your own house. You are unable to do certain things, which are essentially things that we take it for granted. You do it every day.
Yeah.
But now you are limited. Your life has been cut, and now part of you is dependent on something else, and part of you is still alive. So there's a conflict between yourself and the environment around you you have to find a way, how do I relate, how do I deal with it? And if you don't find a solution to that, it can be very, very, very difficult for you. And many times, this is what kills people. Because you just lose hope and say, it's better I die than live like this. The pain, the denial, the depression, and all those kind of things. You know, when you are healed, you heal the wound, you heal the injury, but the most difficult thing to heal is the mind. Because the mind has got its own level of, dealing with certain situations. And for it to come out and now open, like when I was in hospital, I was told like, my kidneys are in shock, some of the internal organs are not functioning. They're totally in shock. So you have to be taken through a process for them to recover. And they can take as long, there's no time frame that they recover within maybe a week or a month or something like that. It just depends now how the mind will react to transform itself so that it starts releasing the other part of you. Yes.
Was there any bitterness in you, especially because this is not just, a normal accident? Someone had a hand in it. Was there any bitterness in you?
Yes, you know, there are times you start wondering, was it accident? Was it just normal thuggery? Or did somebody just try to kill you or something like that? But I was remembering, I was so young. I don't remember that maybe I have any enemies or anything who could be so dangerous like that. And then you also think, because I'm a lawyer, maybe I handled a case that could have necessarily this, but I don't remember. I don't still remember that I was involved in any case that was so dangerous that people can start looking for me to kill me. And then you all of a sudden, you also become very angry with yourself and anybody around you. And that can even be very dangerous, because if you become that, if you don't recover from that, even people who want to help you will distance themselves from you, and they leave you alone. And you find you can get even very serious opportunistic infections that can eventually damage you or kill you. So that is why we need people to be taken through a process of healing and healing the mind, and this is a process of rehabilitation. That's how you have to get professionals who will be very patient with you. They can take, sometimes it can take as long. It can take 3 months, it can take 6 months, it can take even a year for people to open up, especially people who are adult. People when they're a bit younger, the recovery is a bit faster than people who are adults, because you know what you expect from yourself and the environment around you. So it is very, very hard, I can say that. Yeah.
You talk about being angry at yourself, being angry, with the people surrounding you, and you also did mention that at that time you were newly wedded. So how was this for your wife? And the fact that at times you'd get angry at the people just surrounding you, did it in any way affect, the relationship that you two had?
My wife, fortunately, she was very patient with me, and she was a source of encouragement. She could tell me, no, don't worry, you'll make it, you'll be okay. Those kind of encouragement to try to persuade me to accept what has happened. But still, you feel like you are not human enough. You are a lesser human being now, because something of you has gone. It's like part of you has died. Now you only having a part of you living. So that family conduct and relationship actually is part of the healing process. Because if you do not have people around you, people who love you, people who care, I think it can be very, very traumatizing.
Mm-hmm.
It can take very long to get healed.
Mm-hmm.
And that process, in fact, when I went to hospital abroad, I went with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
But when we reached there, the hospital told her to leave.
Mm-hmm.
They told her, if you spend time with him here, it will take very long for him to get healed.
Mm-hmm.
So they encouraged her to leave, and then she came back.
Mm-hmm.
She came back home. So I remained there with those people whom I don't know. They don't know me.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when somebody now handles you, there's no time they are going to, you know, be very gentle with you. They'll just tell you the way things are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? They'll tell you, this is what you are going to do. You struggle with it, but they stand their ground. And I found that was the first step for now me to accept myself, that I can live with this condition. It was also the first step to realize that, yes, I can even manage it on my own. Because now that's a process where they start telling you that we want to show you how to live with this disability and live a decent life, not going to depend on other people. And then they also encourage you that we are going also to teach you that you can leave this place and go to other places and relate with the environment there without necessarily looking for any support. You can get only some support, minimal support, but you cannot entirely depend on people.
Yes.
Your personal hygiene is also an issue, because unless you learn how to take good care of yourself, you can find yourself getting a lot of infections because of personal hygiene. So that's a process that when my wife left, then I remained with those people alone. It's when I started realizing now, it's either now or never, because if I let go, then it will be the end of me. So I had to fight now.
So how did you adjust to all those things they taught you?
Yes, I had to make adjustment, because now these people are not being, you know, they are not persuading you to do anything. They just come and tell you, today we are going to do a BCD, today we are going to put you in a wheelchair and show you how to ride a wheelchair on a road, and how to go over barriers and all that kind of thing. So every day you go out there, you have never, this is the first time you are on a wheelchair, you want to ride, and then things go on and on and on. But adjustment had to come. You had to move on because, you know, you start realizing that it's not just about me. There are others. I have children. I have a family. And there are other people also who are looking up to me to rise from that point. And then you remember also that disability in this country was like a curse. You know, I could remember very well the people with disability I had seen. Actually, they live a very bad life. They are thrown on the street, they are beggars. Those who maybe acquired disability when they were young, they were never taken to school, and all that kind of life. So I could just imagine now me coming back from here and also go and stay on the street looking for alms. No, I said no. I must fight to get a life back. Yes.
Let's talk about the children. You've mentioned them. How is it for them then? You know, are they asking, where's daddy? Because you spent a month at the Aga Khan hospital, but now you have to leave the country, and their mom has to go back. So now you're left alone. They're asking questions.
Unfortunately, they were too young even to remember.
How old were they?
They were barely a year.
Oh, okay.
So I think the only thing they could remember, they remember my image, but they don't remember anything else. And as far as I'm concerned, they have never known me walking. They have known me and the way I am. Maybe unless they look at the pictures which were there before that, that's when they know that I was like this before this happened. But I thank God because now we related well as a family. We took it positively and we have grown with it. And the rest I say is history because I have managed, when I felt that I can use myself to help other people who are living in the same condition to get over the trauma, because sometimes people go in denial and they refuse totally to accept that and then you get some people who come around you trying to persuade you that they can do something for you, and then you can walk and or recover. You know, there are people who say they'll pray for you, or they take you to a place where there's
Did
somebody
you encounter
who can.
that?
Yeah, all those they came around. Yes, I remember. There are so many of them who came, and some will come and say, we'll pray for you. And some will tell you, we can take you. There's, I don't know which preacher is coming. We can go there, pray for people to get healed. So that kind of false hope is what sometimes can make you also very angry. Because they take you there, you've wasted your time, they have given you hope, and then you come out, nothing has happened. So you become very, agitated, and sometimes you even go into another depression, and then you have. So it's better sometimes when you have accepted yourself. Some things you should distance yourself from them, and discourage anybody who comes with those kind of ideas that they want to help you, ABCD. Yeah, that is something that we try to discourage. We don't want people coming to give you false hope, and they know you are desperate. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Mahesh, let's take a short commercial break. And when we come back, we'll now be talking about going beyond, because Beyond the Scars is not only about the scars, but it's also about beyond it. I see your feedback. James Baragu here says, right in time for my best Sunday Soul opening show. They inflicted pain and physical damage, but your heart is still intact. His humane nature surpasses his physical scar, and definitely it's visible. He lives beyond the scars. Keep it coming. Grace Korea, KE, KTN is KE. I'll be sampling it. Let's take that short commercial break.
This is KTN News.
Africa is on the move, farming with tech and moving mobile money, turning trash into cash and finding our fortune online. So whether you're starting out on your own or budgeting for tomorrow, we are sharing inspiring ideas from across the continent and expert advice on how to navigate your world. For business news that's useful to you, get informed, get ahead with Africa Business from the BBC.
Politics in Kenya is driven by fake news and alternative facts, and sometimes an opinion can be punished. But we're here to offer opinions anchored on public and national interest. No two ways about it. Our opinions must be used to drive our democracy and politics for the sake of Wanjiku, Mora, and Nafula.
To represent that idea or that view which has not gotten its way into parliament or into the main political discourse in other forms of communication.
Kenya must rise above its basic instincts for tribalism and corruption and greed. We must appeal to a higher sense, not only within the political class, but within the very fiber of this nation. From Wanjiku to Uhuru, from Kipchumba to Ruto, we must ask them that where is the space for the higher senses, the space for dignity, the space for character, the space for a better Kenya. That is what this show is about.
Artists are creating new sound and the world is taking notice, ranging from smooth jazz to dance pop. The rise in African artists is emblematic of a growing audience across the globe.
Artists that a lot of us know in Africa make it on New York radio.
On the next Our Voices will introduce you to some of the rising female stars of Afrobeat. Join the conversation on Our Voices each week right here on KTN News.
This is KTN News.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the conversation we've been having with Westlands Member of Parliament, Honorable Team Wanyonyi, on Beyond the Scars. Keep your feedback coming. I see it. I'll be sampling it at the end of this program. Send it, to KTN is KE and at Grace Korea KE. We continue with the conversation we've been having. And before we even talk about, what you're doing now in politics, Member of Parliament, Westlands. Let me ask what kept you going then and what still keeps you going today?
I think what keeps me going first is hope. You hope tomorrow is there. Mm-hmm. You hope that your tomorrow will be better than today. And that keeps you that urge to live. You live for something. Mm-hmm. I have a family. I have people whom I care for and people who care for me also. And every day you look around and say, yes, at least I'm able to do something, not just for myself, but for others. And that is hope that you see, that every day you wake up, you say, I'll do something. Mm-hmm. And this is what keeps me going. Mm-hmm. That I can use my life to impact on others, to help others make it, even if they are not in my condition. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's how life is. You use the advantage you have or the opportunity you have mm-hmm. to help others get on with life. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You spoke to us about the challenges that people living with disability face, and also the whole false hopes. Someone coming to you telling you, I know this person who can do this for you, and it doesn't happen. So is that what led you to founding the Kenya Paraplegic organization, or what was the reason behind it?
The reason behind finding Kenyan Paraplegic organization is I found out that people with disability, especially those who have been injured through maybe road accident or something like that, and have been maimed when they're adults, they had nobody who could provide care for them. They had nobody who could guide them or even help them get some things that will help them get on with life, especially the assistive devices like wheelchairs and all that. And then also trying to show them that there is life beyond that injury, beyond the disability. There's life after that. So Kenyan Paraplegic, I came about finding it because when I was in Belgium, I realized people there are very organized. In fact, people in those countries who live with disability, the government provides for them almost 100% for all their needs. If they are not earning, they'll give them something that will keep them living with the things like wheelchairs provided for them free of charge. And every now and then they go for medical checkup without any cost. But when we come back here, it is different because there's nothing you get for free. Even when the government provides, says that a wheelchair, you'll buy a wheelchair tax-free. There are costs that involve that wheelchair. If you are importing it, you are going to incur costs on transportation and all other things. So it's still way beyond anybody to afford. Many Kenyans, you realize many Kenyans are very, they don't have means to have access to these things. So through Kenyan Paraplegic Organization, we source for these devices and we give them out without any cost. Sometimes even transport them long distances to reach somebody who may not be able to come to us.
Wow.
So it is an organization that takes care and also encourages people to live positive, that there is always life after this, beyond disability. Yeah.
What are some of like the personal encounters you've had with other persons living with disabilities? For instance, we see stories even, in the news of people who are locked up in their houses by their family members. Have you perhaps encountered such people, when you're continuing with this organization?
Yes, we have. We have encountered such situations. But sometimes we may be quick to judge, but sometimes it is a very desperate situation. You can imagine a mother with a child with disability, with a mental disability, and she is the only person who will provide for this child. She cannot move around with the child. She has to find a way maybe of keeping him somewhere so that she can go and look for something, which may be food or something like that. So it's just a very desperate situation sometimes. Although sometimes people take advantage of people with disability, but sometimes it is that desperate situation. A mother with a child with disability, she has no help. It's between her and this child, and they have to feed and have to do certain things. So she has to find a way, sometimes those extreme measures that she takes to preserve him. Because if you imagine a child with a mental disability, if just left on his own, he can go anywhere and may find himself maybe harmed or something like that. So those situations are there. Although there are many other Kenyans who feel ashamed of a person with disability within their family.
Yes.
And they tend to hide them away. In fact, when people come to their home, they hide that child away. And sometimes that has happened, and they end up even denying that child access to education and other things. So some of these things is a way that we need to do a lot of awareness and advocacy to educate them that it is not that bad. Just take this child to school, or take him to some institutions where they will care for them. Then the child can be given education or something that will enable that child feel that he's a human being. But because when you deny them, they just feel like maybe they're lesser of a human being than others. And you can find like maybe a child in a family with other children. And this is the child who is being left behind. Nothing happens to them. When even they are having a conversation in the family, they don't even refer to you. They look at the child as if it doesn't exist. So that's the thing that we try to encourage parents, that please carry along that child, encourage him, give him hope, let him find the opportunities. And there are parents who have done very well, who have taken their children to school, who have struggled and have made it to very great heights. Yeah, and those are people we really feel proud about.
What more needs to be done? What more does the government need to do, not only like in your capacity as a member of parliament, but other officials, governors across counties? Because recently my colleague Timothy ran a special report of the challenges that people living with disabilities face, and they are massive. There are so many challenges. What more needs to be done?
What more? We need the government just need to take measures, and we have enacted laws. There are laws there that provide for some of these things. That, for example, buildings they must be accessible to people with disability. Public transport, they must be accessible, and even our own streets, even our roads, even where people live, they need to make them habitable and more accessible to everybody, because at one time in life, whether you like it or not, you'll acquire some disability, some form of disability. When you grow old, you reach somewhere, you just become, you acquire that disability by virtue of your age. Women, sometimes when they get pregnant, they get into that state where you find that they'll not be able to do certain things or move or go to certain places. So it is always good to make adjustment in areas to accommodate everybody. When you go to a place, when you go to a shop, when I want to go to a supermarket and I want to go to a washroom, I don't need to have to ask somebody to take me there. I should be able just to go to that washroom, and those are private matters. And human dignity is also what defines people, how to relate with the environment. And these are the things that the government, it will not cost them anything, including creating opportunities for employment for people with disability. These are things that we have been fighting about, and saying that people with disability who have gone to school should be allowed also to get into the job market, to be employed so that they can work and earn a living and feel that they are human. But sometimes they are denied also the access to such opportunities.
Let's talk politics now. When you took over from former Cabinet Minister Fred Gumbo, now you are the Member of Parliament for Westlands, and then your campaign was unique, door to door. Why did you decide to go down that way?
Because I felt that people with disability have no voice. They have no voice anywhere. When I got into politics, I remember 2007, I came out and joined the campaign of Prime Minister Raila Odinga. And from there, I kept on finding that how do people with disability relate even in the leadership or the decision making. And you find in the rank and file, they are not there. So I had to fight through that process, together with other people with disability, to find space so that we can express ourselves. And luckily, I found a platform. And I ended up being a councillor at City Hall. And through that, I started bringing up, motions in the council to create that space for people with disability, to create an environment for them, even within City Hall, to get to work. For example, when I got in City Hall, there were people with disability who were working there. And sometimes they work on 4th floor. But there was no lift in that building. The lifts are there, but they were not functioning. So for them to get to their station of work, they had to crawl through the floors until they get to 4th floor. But I insisted, I'll not be carried, I'll not be because they were saying like it's very easy, they can give me some strong men who can carry me around when I want to get to places where I cannot get. I told them, no, please fix those lifts. Let the lifts work, and it's not just for me, for anybody who comes to this place and cannot be able to use the stairs. They can use the lift, and let the lift be there for everybody. And then it started working. Then I said, let us create also on the streets of Nairobi places, people with disability, those who are fortunate enough to have a car, they can have a parking slots reserved for them. Put them, mark them clearly, so that when they come, nobody interferes with them.
Yes.
And all that. And then we started also encouraging building owners to create environment for people with disability to go. These are some of the things. And then we started fighting for employment and leadership for people with disability. So I think this is, but we have made some strides, I think I can say, because we have members of parliament with disability. We have members of members in the county assemblies. We have people with disability who are also maybe filling positions in the government appointments. Although we are not yet there, but at least we have made some strides. Yeah.
Mahesh, allow me to ask, has anyone, probably like your political opponents, ever used the condition that you are in against you, say in campaigns, say in, development, track records, all that? Has anyone ever used this against you?
When I was campaigning the first time, my opponent, on the eve of election, he started sending text messages to people, to electorates, telling them that I've already been nominated because of my disability, so I will not be on the ballot. So they should vote for him. Me, I've already been nominated and it went viral because he sent text messages to everybody within the constituents. So, but many people had seen me campaigning, and so some of them went. It was out of curiosity that they went just to try and find out that if my name was actually not on the ballot. And when they got to the ballot and they looked there, and everybody, when they were coming out, they were saying, he's there. So they went and voted for me. And I remember another one who just told me that we will make you walk. That if you don't know who we are going to make you walk from that wheelchair. And I told them, fine, no problem. If it means you are losing the fight, now you are getting personal. Let us deal with issues. And that's my always message. Me, I never fought back with the same, those kind of dirty politics. We always deal with issues. I tell them, please stop focusing on me, focus on the issues.
Sure.
Yeah.
We need to wrap up, but there are two more issues we need to talk about. And I need you to tell us your encounter with the late Kibra Member of Parliament, Ken Okoth. You stepped in for the people of Kibra. You represented him when he was away. Unfortunately, we lost him. But how was your encounter with him, and even when you stepped in for him in Kibra?
Honorable Ken Okoth, may his soul rest in peace. When we are elected together in 2013, as first timers, we came to Parliament, and immediately, I remember the first time I did a function in my constituency, I invited him, and he came, and I showed him what we had done, and he was very encouraged. He said he wants to do something like what I had done in Westlands. And from that point, we developed a closer working relationship. And he will invite me to his constituency when he's doing anything. I will invite him. And sometimes we share many other ideas about how we can improve ourselves as members of Parliament, and also within our constituencies. And that's how we became friends. And our working relationship was very close. And when I took time and went to see him in a hospital in Paris, he was very happy, and he asked me if I can help him with the work at home because he was unable to be there. Then I told him no problem, and I came back and went back to his constituency and started looking at anything that is going there. And I told his people, those who are working in his office, that if there's anything that they need me to do for them, because a member of parliament is indisposed, then let them not feel shy. So I started going in whenever they need anything. If they're doing anything that they need me, I will go there. And that is how we related. And from there, I think I started relating with the people of Kipra, that if there's anything, I just find time and go there and do for them what's supposed to be done by their member of parliament. Yeah.
And that was really noble of you. Now, my viewers won't forgive me if I don't ask this question, because lots of them, you can actually even check it out on the comments. They're talking about 2022. And most of them calling you my governor 2022. That's Mwanakawa Ronald. Duncan Angonde says, my governor, a serious leader Nairobi needs. Rachel Wambari Mahesh, how about considering vying for governor of Nairobi? Address them.
You know, when you are in politics, you must have some ambition. And one of the ambitions is that I have served here. I can serve at the next level. I can be the governor of Nairobi. It's not a crime. And I have said it many times. My party leader has expressed it. And I said, yes, he has seen the level of organization and my delivery, my work. I think it speaks for him. I've worked in City Hall. I understand how City Hall works. And that's the way to go. I am also eligible, and I feel that my next level maybe will be in City Hall. Yeah.
So you confirm you will be on the ballot come 2022?
I believe I will, because once we get to the party level, and we go through the process of nomination, and I'm given the ticket. Definitely, I know I can deliver. And serving in any position, I believe one must be able to deliver to the best of his abilities, and I believe I'm up to that task.
Sure. Mahesh, let's get your parting shot. Speak to your constituents and speak also to other people living with disability.
I would like to tell the people of Westlands and the people of Nairobi in general that Tim Wanyonyi, you are a member of parliament. Yours truly, I am there to represent, to make sure that you get the best out of my work. And I can promise that I'm here to serve you, and I'm here to do the best to improve the quality of life, the service delivery, and make sure that Nairobi is a better place than we found it. We want to take Nairobi to where it was, together with you and other leaders within the city.
Great. Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa Honorable Timothy Wanyonyi, the Member of Parliament, Westlands. Thank you so much for joining us today. Lots of feedback. Tim Sande saying a Kenyan model MP who serves his constituents in Westlands with diligence and decorum, soft-spoken but very hardworking. Westlands leads in Nairobi in development. Benjamin Bosire, the grace of God is sufficient to all of us. Tim Sande again says, Honorable Tim Wanyonyi is very organized. The late Kibra Member of Parliament looked up to him for advice. The two have set a trailblazing record in prudent usage of CDF funds. The education infrastructure in Westlands public schools has massively been improved and expanded. And last one here from Benjamin, who says, it's good we have living testimonials with us, a clear indication that your godly given purpose on earth must continue. As long as there is life, there is hope, and hope keeps you going. Lots of this feedback, but I won't be able to sample all of them, but I appreciate appreciate all of you that sent in your feedback and all of you that tuned in. We do appreciate. At 11 a.m., Ben Kitili will be here with Inside Politics, and I'll be back at 1 p.m. for Weekend Turn. My name is Grace Kuria.